This tutorial is about getting from the schematic diagram program into the PCB or circuit board program. So to start off with, we have our completed schematic from the last tutorial for the useless box. And now what we're going to do is take it into the PCB program. So we're going to go to File, and from File we're going to go to Convert to PCB. And what's going to happen is the next program is going to start up called the PCB Layout program for dip trace. And this one, making PCB use schematic rules, we're going to use, and we say OK. And it's going to start up and look like this. So there's what our schematic in the previous program looks like when it's starting to get into the board layout. So before we begin in here, there's a couple things we have to do to make sure we do it right. So to start off with, you're going to go to Route, and from Route you're going to go to Current Auto Router and change it and make sure it's Grid, which it is. Then you're going to go to Route, and back to Route and go Auto Router Setup, and in here it says Use All Layers. We're going to uncheck that and go to 1 to make sure that we're only using one layer on the circuit board. 2 layers is for more sophisticated boards. We're going to click on OK. Third time around, I'm going to go to Route, Router Setup, and from Router Setup, the trace width, how thick the copper is going to be on the board, we're going to change that to 0.04. And the trace clearance, we're going to change that one, I don't know, maybe 0.02. Okay, so we're going to leave a bit of distance between all the traces when it goes to make it later, right? And then we finally hit OK. So now we're about to begin. So a couple things we can do here is, actually before we begin, we're just going to clean up a couple things. So here, this is our switch from the last, the schematic diagram program. So what we're going to do is I'm going to double click on it, and I'm just going to type in here switch so we have it. Okay, so there's my switch, and over here again, you know, this one's the LED, so just type in LED, and I just double clicked on it. And this one here is going to be the servo, double click on it, and I'm going to put in servo. Okay, so now I've got these all in here, and again, if they didn't show up for you, they're under View, Component Markings, Main, and you may want to make sure it's on Value, right? So now what I can do is I can spin these around, okay, and I can start placing them, but I'm going to actually stop there, and we're going to do this in the next tutorial. So that ends this tutorial.